What are you covering your mouth for? Janet didn't know she was going to be live. All right. Anyway, uh, guys, I'm sorry. I got home from work and my plan was to take a 45-minute nap, and I ended up oversleeping. Didn't hear the alarm. Uh, but we're gonna go ahead and do some Greek. I know they did a little bit of a stream a while ago, but I'm gonna try to do my best to back up and pick up where we left off from the last time that I was here. Janet, I thank you so much for being willing to do the things that you do, like play videos and stuff like that. But we'll go from here. All right, so let's go to playlists. Thank Christ is the truth. All right, so we go to the playlist and Baby Greek Bible study.
He wants to have to study the Bible seriously. The
Who
CID.
Christ is the truth said that?
Yeah, on the
Okay,
last
all right,
video that I had earlier that
okay,
I ended up so quick.
okay. Well, whenever we're gonna do inductive Bible study, as soon as I finish the lesson for Greek tonight. Even though it's going to be a little late. It's better that I delay things as far as time wise than to cancel. And I'm sorry, guys. If it's better that I schedule something and have to cancel or delay than to not schedule it at all. And because it's a discipline, and you gotta fight because you're never gonna feel like it. You gotta fight. You gotta schedule things. You gotta plan, and you just do your best to navigate things. All right, so let's see here. It may be a little bit difficult to see where we left off at, so I'm gonna have to go to a previous video that we already did to see that. All right, 23 hours ago. That's the one Janet did. So this must have been it right here.
It's a Popeye. Okay. Yes. Oh, oh okay. You, he, she, it. Then it goes with us, guys. Okay. Amy, A, Esten, Esmin, Este. Okay? Asin. Your own. Y'all.
All right, so that says number 12. Okay. So back to the playlist. Number 12, translating basic sentences. All right, so then session 2. Huh? Sorry, I got mixed playlists here, and I'll fix all this stuff in the future. What it is I've taught different classes and merged these things together. But I think Janet was playing this video last time. No, she was playing another one because it was about prepositions. So we'll go ahead and play this. This might be a little bit faster than normal because this guy Ryan, he had studied Greek in high school. And so now he was in his college years, and he had a really good vocabulary, sort of like Justin. But as far as learning syntax, that was his challenge. And I mean, first year syntax, how the sentences work and translating and all that. So, all right, let's go.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, let me just introduce the video and then we'll have you pray.
Oh, the other TV is the one that's loud. Give me a second. All right, just turned it down a little bit.
Hi,
But
MMA
you know,
Paradise. What, Sawako?
um, where is Ryan now?
I don't know
He
where Ryan
he is a,
is.
he is a Catholic, right?
Well, he was a couple years ago.
So I hope he's
So
not now.
I don't know. We just see. Okay. Welcome to the Layman Seminary. We're talking about of baby biblical Greek again, and we have Ryan with me. He asked me to meet with them. So Ryan, will you pray us in, please?
Yeah, this is a prayer for youth and institutions of learning. Almighty God, the author of all being and our only true guide and protector, visit with your blessing, we pray, our church, schools, and seminaries of learning. Inspire the teachers with a proper sense of their solemn duties and with grace and strength to fulfill them. May our students be trained up in your nurture and admonition, and plant in their hearts the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom, and that the faith which works by love and overcomes the world. Fill their memories with words of the law, your law. Open their understandings to the truth as it is in Jesus, so that, made wise to salvation, they may escape the pollutions of error and sin, and be strong in your hands for the maintenance of the pure and undefiled religion among men. Grant this for the sake of Jesus Christ, your Son, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
All right.
And so,
Hello, John Mark.
how can I help you today? Did you
So
were
what-
working on the future lesson? Is that what the issue is? And
No, the future is the easy part. The future active indicative is the easy part. It's how the nouns relate to each other that I had a problem with.
okay, all right. Well, since that be the case, I wanna continue with let's see if we can find any more relevance in looking at First John related to that issue. Maybe we'll find it,
Okay.
maybe we won't. But let's
Hi,
just
John Mark.
okay. Last time we translated like I think the first sentence of John chapter 1.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna work on 1, 2, just as a refresher, and that way people who were are not at the same level as you, they can get something out of this video, you know, as a walk away. Something
Yeah.
okay.
Takeaway.
Absolutely.
All right. So first thing we do is we break everything down by punctuation so that we can see what's going on here. Makes things into manageable chunks so that we can interpret them. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
All right. Okay. All right. So we've already done verse 1.
Yeah.
Now we're on to verse 2. I would like for you to read this first division here, which this is indicating it's a complete sentence. So read
Okay.
that. Read it. Don't read it super fast. Just read it, you know, where you're pronouncing everything.
Okay, yeah. Utos this is a good speed.
Yeah, that's fine.
Utos ein n rk pros ton theon.
Okay. So what's the first thing you do?
Syllabification.
Well, you want to, number one, we've already done punctuation. So what we need to look for now is we need to look for a verb. Do you see any
Yes, Sawako, good.
verbs in the sentence?
You have a mouth, Sawako. You can talk in the stream. Okay, I'm praying for you, Cram. God bless.
I think. Oh wait, aim. 1 second.
Yes, ain is a verb. You're right.
Ain. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
was.
Yeah, ain. Yep, that's a verb, and it's not important right now what kind of verb it is, but we talked about it in the previous video, so it's just was. We'll deal with the imperfect once we encounter that. So in the study.
Yeah.
All right, so you identified the verb. Now, depending on how many verbs or verbals. Verbals are participles or infinitives. And depending on how many you have, each one equals a clause, okay?
Okay.
And then you got to determine whether that clause is dependent or independent. So
Right.
this is telling us, go ahead.
I was just saying, I remember that like third grade English.
Yes, yes. So this period is telling us this is one sentence, but this specifies it because there's a verb in there. Now there is such thing as a verbless clause, but we haven't encountered it yet, at least in verse 2. So, okay, we got the verb. All right. Now what's the next thing we do?
I would think we should find the subject.
Okay, and what is the subject called in Greek?
Oh, right. Nominative.
Right. And so where's your nominative at?
I think it's RK.
Well, the subject may be in the verb, but that's not the same thing as the nominative.
Janet, are you saying something?
I'm guessing. I said pros.
No.
No.
Pros is a preposition, but I understand why you said pros
Oh, it's
because you see the
autos.
sigma.
Yeah, it is autos.
That's hutas. Look at the rough breather.
Never.
Okay, how do you know the hutas is the subject or the nominative subject?
Because of the sigma.
Right, the sigma is the indication of that. But you also have ain. Ain is a to be verb. Okay, the I am, but this is the imperfect form. So usually when you have a nominative with an imperfect, with the to be verb, you would usually have another nominative, a predicate nominative, like we did in the first one, right? In verse 1. But here you have a dative phrase.
Layman,
then
I
you have
cannot see the face.
What?
It's so difficult to listen to a teacher that cannot see the face.
Okay, well, my back hurts. So it's
sorry.
better if I sit back and relax so I can do that. So you just have to be patient with the face. Okay, look. So you got NRK. That's a dative prepositional phrase. And then you have proston theon, which is an accusative prepositional phrase.
Because of the
Okay.
N, the new.
Yeah, the new indicates accusative, yes. See the Yoda subscript underneath RK?
Yes.
That indicates a dative, and N takes the dative. So
Barely to see it. The you.
yeah, right. So I agree with you that hutas is the nominative subject. Good job.
Oh, well.
a
we got-
nominative is a case.
Right. Oh, right. There's a Yoda. I missed that Yoda subscript. So it must be utas.
And you would translate this, or remember right? This one. So right here we got, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This one, and then it's continuing on from there.
How about if you already know the verse, the translation, then you just.
But if that's the problem, yeah, that's the problem that Ryan has. Is he can read the Greek and he knows the vocabulary, but he wasn't able to slow down and put it in the right sentence structure. And I don't know if he does that here, but later on, as the sentences get more complex, his translations become more wild. And so that was my difficulty with teaching him. But with the English student, what I do is if they know the verse so well, I make him explain exactly why it's translated that way. You know, to support their claim.
Hi, MMA Paradise. See you again. Later at 3 o'clock, I have.
This is nominative. The color we used for nominative last time was green.
Yeah.
So why do you think this is nominative?
Sigma at the end.
Okay. All right. So all right. So now we
Yeah.
have a nominative, we have a verb, and we want to do things in SVO order. So subject, verb, and then object. So
Yeah.
how do you identify an object in Greek?
New.
Okay. What does the new indicate? What's the object called in Greek? At least at the first
Accusative.
year. Yes. Right. So when you see a new,
Yeah,
you accuse. Okay. So here's our accusative. Let's see what our color was for the accusative. Somebody asked me to keep it consistent, so that's why I'm looking up to see what we did previously.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You being willing to study with me and do these videos has blessed other people a whole lot. So I appreciate that.
What the call the tone again?
It's
Tone on.
so we must.
It's a preposition conjunction. Which one is that?
No, pros is the preposition.
The tone.
The ton is the definite article or the article. Yeah.
So just highlight it. All right. And I'm gonna make this bigger so we can see this. Now we have the indirect object, which is called the dative case. How do you identify the dative case in Greek?
Yoda subscript, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
And so you have it right there in our case.
Oh, I
This
get the subject.
color,
I thought you are in 3. You're in 2nd.
the
Red-
darker
blue.
blue. Yeah, the darker blue. All right. All right. So now we have now the sentence, if as long as we have a subject and a verb, it makes sense. Because there's
Sure.
there's
Sorry.
there's two types of that we could be dealing with. We can deal with transitive, which has a direct object, okay, or it takes a direct object, and then there's intransitive,
Which I
means
guess
it
doesn't.
it doesn't have a direct object. So we're gonna just take it as you have two options right now for the subject, even though this is the nominative case, right? You
Yeah.
also can have the subject embedded within this verb. So, what are you going to go with, and why are you going to go with it?
I'm gonna go with utos, and I vaguely remember that being a pronoun. Is the reason.
Okay, it's a pronoun. All right. So you're going to say that, but this pronoun. Check this out. So we're going to say it's he, right? Because we're talking about the word.
Yeah, I think it is he.
Okay. And you're saying it's a pronoun, right? But technically, ain means he, she, it, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So why do you have a
Like I said, hutos is that one, or I mean, this one is probably how I take it. I think it's a demonstrative pronoun.
Demonstrative pronoun.
I think so. I can't remember right now.
pronoun here when it's not necessary?
I'm guessing. I'm just going to take a wild guess here. There's something within the sentence that causes confusion, so it has to be clarified.
Or something is being emphasized.
Yeah.
So that we'll talk about the pronouns, the use of the pronouns later on. But I just wanted you to be aware of that, because when we read the English, it just sounds it doesn't bring out that, it just says he.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So we got the he. Now what is our verb?
Ain
Right. Okay. Which means what?
was. He was.
All right. So when we're talking about verbs, this is what's called a stative verb, okay? Or a verb of being. Uh,
It's on
I am, those are the verbs of being, okay?
Yeah.
All
And ain is a verb of being.
Yeah. So he was, okay, now what comes next?
In the beginning.
Okay. Now notice there is the definite article is the, but just like we said before,
It can
It-
be assumed.
yeah, it could be assumed, and for a particular.
So you notice right here, he's translating it in order. But I would actually probably do it if I were to do it over again. And I don't remember if I had him do this. I would say this one or that one. I can't remember if it's this or that. Or just take it as he. He was with the Father in the beginning. That would keep it SVO.
Reason, if you make the argument that there's only one beginning of creation, the fancy term for that article is called monadic. There's
Okay.
no monadic article. And see, that's the thing about articles in Greek. If it's present or if it's not, it could still be there. Well, let me put it this way. It could be explicitly in the text or it could be implicitly in the text.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's more. We'll learn about that later on, but I just wanted to explain that. Plus, someone had commented on that.
Gotcha.
So he was in. We're going to go ahead with the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think in the ruler makes much sense.
Right. He was in
Sovereign
the beginning.
means first.
All right.
He was in the beginning with God.
Right.
I'm going to say this plus is with here.
Right. So do you understand how direct objects and indirect objects work?
Yeah.
If I say, let me see if I can remember. Let me do one.
But like there was one
Charles-
sentence, it was like verb. I think it was like luo, doulos, namas. It's like, well, which one is which?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. Charles threw the ball to Ryan. All right. If I remember right, as far as English wise, Charles is our subject, threw is our action, and the ball is our object. But the indirect object is to Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning is your indirect object here, and then with God. So if you wanted to, you could say he was with God. But when was he with God? In the beginning.
Yeah.
It's specifying additional information. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You did good on that one. Try 3. Let's see how well we do. Because there's going to come a time I'm going to get bogged down myself because we're reading the Bible instead of reader graded level translations. Because that's what Mounts uses. That's what Black uses. Is they have graded translations. So it's like you're learning sentences and sentence structure that doesn't actually
So this was from 2021.
exist in the Bible, so that when you come across something that is in the Bible, you have been built up to be able to interpret what's in the Bible or to translate what's in the Bible.
But we're
So
just getting right into it.
Yeah, it's a graded approach. But right now, where we want to engage the text as much as possible, because what we're doing
why
in the
we're here.
translation exercises should help us become more proficient in reading the Bible, and understanding the Bible. So yes, absolutely. Okay.
So I believe you want me to read. Oh, you want me to read it first? That's right.
Uh-huh.
Panta de auto egeneto neta
Okay, why is there a comma here?
There's a comma. No, that's the semicolon. That's the question mark. Aren't commas sometimes? Oh, right.
Commas are
Kai.
commas.
Yeah. Kai Koris Auto Egeneto Ude Hain
But
Ha.
yeah, well, you don't need to worry about this right now. Remember the purpose
Oh.
of breaking it up by punctuation, and this is not English punctuation. This is Greek punctuation, which is
Yeah.
you know, that the critical text and stuff have put in there to help us. So we're just only dealing with this line right here. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So why is this comma here?
Because it's a fragment of a sentence.
A fragment of a Greek sentence, or a part of a Greek sentence, you could say.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, a fragment a lot of times in English means that it's not a complete sentence. But in Greek, the punctuation can indicate clauses. Okay.
I don't think you have to cut off a sentence in Greek, right?
What do you mean by cut off?
Like in English, they're like, you can't go on too long or it's a run-on sentence, but I don't think they had those in Greek, right?
Well, I mean, when you're reading Paul, it kind of feels that way. But the issue, the issue is that if it has a verb, or there's a verb implied within it, then it's a clause. Okay, a verb or a verbal, and then we got to determine whether it's independent or dependent. So when you see punctuation, the first thing you should think of is there a verb or a verbal present? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Do you see any verb present?
I'm going to say, hold on. O, ace, ace, amen, eta, usi. None of these are O, ace, ace, amen, eta, usi.
Right. That's only your present active indicative form of the verb. There's other forms of the verb that you don't know yet, or that you know, but they're not coming to your mind right now.
Okay, so I had a feeling, but I think it's ega neta.
Yeah, yes, it is a genita. Okay. And what kind of verb right now is not important. Okay.
Okay.
But there's a verb. So my point is you identify the verb or a verbal, and you know you're dealing with at least one clause. So this is all one clause in the Greek.
Okay.
All right. So now we got the verb, right? Which means that the subject could be embedded in the verb, or it could be expressed as the nominative case in the sentence. So do you see the nominative anywhere?
Panta.
How do you know panta is the nominative?
The alpha at the end. Feminine nominative noun.
Do you know that for sure? Let me ask you that question.
I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna take your word for it, but let's look.
Huh.
Hold on. Okay, here's our chart, right?
Okay.
And so you're adding the feminine, and that's not the one I want. I really want the full chart if he'll show it to us.
I think it's a singular feminine.
Yeah, right, but just because here, let me use mounts for that. I mean black. I want you to see this.
Okay.
Give me a second. May take a second to find.
The articles.
This is a 313 type adjective.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, did you find the full chart?
This is This is nominative singular.
All right, this chart will work. It's just what it is that the screen had the A in a different place. Now you can look at this chart and you can see it. Look, nominative.
Oh, plural.
Right, but look at this. This is the issue that you run into, is that the nominative plural and the accusative plural look the same. Hello?
1 second, I gotta move rooms.
Okay.
Okay. Isn't Ponta all?
Yes, all, every, each. But
Okay.
the issue is that, as you see, the nominative and accusative look the same.
Yeah. So how do you know?
So by looking at the Greek, you can't tell whether that's a nominative or accusative. Context indicates that. So this is a situation where you have to consider possibilities.
Okay.
So now your tendency is going to go with how you know it from English. Okay. So if we go with the English reading, then what would be the subject?
Okay, so I'm gonna say alto, perhaps.
No, this is the genitive.
Oh, right. Genitive can't be the subject because it's right.
Okay, so in English, the way this is read is all things. Okay.
Okay. So
Do you know why it's
Ponta.
things? Do you know why we translated this things right here?
No, actually, I don't think I do.
Because it's a neuter concept. So if you look at the paradigm right here, right, the way that the cases
it's
are
underneath.
declined, you have
Yeah.
masculine, feminine, neuter. So this ending is letting you tell you that it's in the neuter. Well, one of the noun rules that Mounce gives is that the nominative and the accusative plural are the same form. Okay.
Okay.
So his noun rules can help you memorize the charts or whatever, but I just want you to be aware that there's times whenever you have to try out different options whenever you're translating, instead of just going with your English understanding, because you may miss something. So the all things, right? So that's our subject. Yeah. So what is our verb?
Egeneta.
Yes. All things, we're just going to say came into being. Okay. And then dia autu. What is that?
Okay. Egeneto is came into?
Yeah. It's from genomai, which means to become.
Oh, right.
To become.
Okay. So
we got our subject, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now I will mention this, even though we the way we say it in English, we'll say something like this: all things came into being through him. That's how we would say it in English, right?
Yeah.
But as you can see here, usually, I think almost exclusively, the genitive is going to go with what came before it. All right. So
okay.
So this would be all things through him came into being. You know, if you wanted to try to make that more accurate.
And I don't think I agree with that interpretation. Looking at that, I would take it as all things came into be him through him is better, because dia autu is it's an adverbial relationship, and it's describing how all things came into being. It's through him. So I would do this differently. Now we can look at how this is diagrammed, but I'm pretty sure. Well, the diagram wouldn't change
how you translate it, but I don't think I would say all things through him. I think I would say all things came into being through him. And that may not be accurate. That's just based on my observation on what I'm seeing right here in the Greek. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll finish this 3, and then we'll go into the exercises. Okay. I just want you to actually be reading the Greek text in this process. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That makes
so
sense
what's
to
the
me.
first thing you do right here?
Syllabification or read it?
Well, when you're saying syllabification, what are you saying?
Like, take it in little chunks.
No, syllabification refers to how do you pronounce individual words. How you break things down into syllables.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I vary in my steps, but basically the steps are read the passage, all right?
Okay.
In Greek. But that's because I've already identified that this is, so look at the punctuation. So look at the punctuation, you can even say. Maybe we can make that number 1. That's up to you. I mean, we'll make this 2, and we'll make them.
I don't really know the process that I do like consciously. I just kind of do it.
Well, we just have to agree to do a certain read and divide punctuation. Well, the reason I'm teaching you these steps is because when we're doing exegesis, things will start going really fast. Nobody count off for my English spelling. All right, read the passage and read and divide the punctuation. I would also say look for conjunctions. Look for conjunctions. Because sometimes the punctuation may break things down, but there may be more conjunctions in the passage that will help you break it down even more. Okay? Then when you read the passage in Greek, you're able to, break it down to where you can understand a little bit more. So we got to divide it up, right, according to punctuation with this sentence, okay? Now, we look for conjunction. We have a chi here. There's our conjunction, all right?
Yeah.
Now, remember what I said. If this is broken off like this, we should be looking for verbs, okay? So there's again a tile. Only reason I'm saying it because we just did it up there. So this is 3 in this. So we'll say 4. Look for verbs and verbals, right? Which verbals are participles and infinitives. And
So
we'll talk about those later.
Okay.
But look for verbs and verbals, okay? So now, after you look for the verb or verbals, then you look for the subject, okay? Now, the subject is either going to be in one or two places. It's either going to be the nominative, or here, I'll put this first. It can be either embedded in the verb, or it could be in the nominative case, okay?
Okay.
Then, then we look for the accusative, right? Because we're looking for the direct object.
Yeah.
So after we do that, then we can start looking for, if we want to say, we can look for the dative, right? Indirect object. And the genitive. So that's your of word. We'll just call it of word for right now.
Okay.
All right. So you have a little bit of so what do you have? We have a verb, right?
Yeah.
So the subject could be inside the verb. Do you have any other competitors for the subject? Do you see any other options that the subject could be? Huh?
Chorus.
What makes you think that that is a nominative?
Sigma at the end.
Okay, there's a sigma at the end, but do you know this word?
Isn't it greeting or grace?
Apart.
No, that's charis. And
Okay.
this is actually a preposition. Okay.
Okay.
We'll make it, well, no, that'll be confusing. Maybe dark blue.
Yeah, I thought it might have been another form of chorus.
All right, so you have a preposition there, okay?
Okay.
At least I think it's a preposition, maybe an adverb, but in my mind it's a preposition. So, okay, so we see that. Now the next to it, there's our oo, and so that's indicating what? What does this oo indicate?
Genitive.
Yes, yes. For those that want an easy way to remember that,
And I
just
know
think of genitive, it's feminine or whatever.
And I know genitive is misspelled above there.
I'm not saying this is exactly right, but just think in your mind. Someone saying, ooh, a genitive, you know?
Oh.
Maybe a girl like excited, ooh, a genitive, you know? That may help.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then you have a couple other options here. So I'll tell you what charis is, and apart. Then you have this is from him, so this is probably a genitive in the sense of
Separation.
separation.
Okay.
And apart from him, okay. And then you have ude in.
In.
Now
That's
in,
in. That's in.
well, this is not in. This is hin. See the rough breather right there?
Not one
Yeah.
thing.
So this means one. Okay. Ooh, day. So this basically means not one thing or nothing.
Nothing.
Apart from him,
Nothing came into being.
nothing. Yeah, or nothing was made. Nothing. Yeah, but nothing came into being is probably the better one. Came into being. Now, that's a tricky one, right? Because you have a prepositional phrase, and then you have, apart from him, nothing came into being. So this, the way you're translating it, it makes it sound like this is the subject, right?
Yeah.
Like somehow this is the subject, and then this is your verb. So it almost, the way you're explaining it, it makes it sound like these are two separate things. So what you have here is you would have a prepositional phrase, right? And then you would have this statement: nothing is your subject came into being. So in this example, if we're understanding this right,
Hey, Taylor. I'm going to do Bible study methods in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm alive.
right? This is a complete thought. Nothing came into being, but it's qualified by saying apart from him.
Yeah.
Right? So that's tricky. So what we can do next, this is for people who don't have all the Bible software and stuff, is we can go,
I have been long curious about all that software.
All right, so we can go
The
to Bible.
exercises we were doing.
Yeah, so we can go to Bible Hub and John 1, right? And we can look at this, and we're actually in verse what? 2?
I think
3. Yeah, 3. All right. So I'll blow this up just so that we can see it. Oh. All right. So what look, look at the information this is telling us right here. This is telling us all things is an adjective, but it is a nominative, okay? So whenever you have an adjective that's acting like a noun, that's called a substantival adjective. In other words, it's substituting. Not so much important right now, but it tells you what kind of verb it is. But the V is letting you know it's a verb, all right, or a verbal.
Gotcha.
All right. So then we have chorus, and it's telling you that it's a preposition, right? This is telling us, and we have another verb. And then right here, we find out that ude by itself is an adverb. Okay.
Not even.
Yeah. And so then we also see that the word one, it's a numerical adjective. So it's like not one thing, right? But notice it's the nominative case. So this seems to be confirming that it's working like that. However, something different here going on. That's weird. That is so weird. I wonder why the translation did that when I pasted it in. The sentence isn't finished yet. But this is what's called a participle.
Okay. What's participle?
A participle is a verbal, okay? And so right here, I like to underline them and stuff. This is the idea of the one begotten. So let me look at the Greek text real quick and let's see why it transferred over like that. Okay.
Okay.
I'll make this bigger so people can read it. So here we are. All things through him came into being, and Taylor, only the ones that called me a liar after I was already having conversations with them on the Sam Shamoon stuff are the ones that I hid. You know, it's like if you're gonna be unprofessional and call people liars and things like that, and we can engage with other people that are not stupid to that level. Apart from him, not one thing came into being. Oh, it is. There is a period there. It's just that the Bible Hub site put it. And let me see. Sometimes this is what I don't like. Sometimes some of these things just wrap, and make it look like it's all one thing.
Yeah.
But this seems to be. They're saying it's part of 1:3. But there must be a difference there because here, well, it is part of 1:3, but it's separated. So here's a period right here, and then here's the participle. Okay, so this participle standing by itself. Now there's different types of participles. Okay, I'm not. People do not need to know this information that I'm telling you right now. All right.
Okay.
But there's different types of participles, sort of like how there's different types of adjectives. There's what's called the adverbial participle. Right. So this deals with time, manner, cause, anything like that, because the adverb modifies a verb.
How?
Huh?
When, what, how?
Yes. Then you have the adjectival participle, which is just it's a descriptive. It's describing characteristics. Sometimes it's called the attributive because it deals with an attribute or a characteristic. Okay?
So that
he used the word what. I guess maybe that could be that's not usually shown in the adverbial relationship. What is usually a term for like relative clause. So maybe you could say an attributive participle could be taken as what or who, but usually it's who, which, or something like that. I can't think of a what right now.
would be what, how, who, etc. Okay, gotcha.
And
that's how I remember.
Yeah, you could even translate like a relative clause because an adjectival participle is going to modify a noun, and then you have the substantival. Okay, I'm not spelling it right.
Okay.
But the substantival The substantival participle is functioning like a noun. Just like earlier I said, a substantival adjective is functioning like a noun. So the key is that whenever you see an article with a participle, if this is a participle, let's verify that before I even. Oh, I feel so bad. This is not a participle.
That's an article, yeah.
Yeah, right, right. So,
it's a
well, no,
perfect-
actually, what's happened? Let me tell you what's
It's the
happening. here.
perfect form of
Okay,
Genomai.
the ha by itself would be an article, but see, it has two lines up here.
It's a
That's
relative
indicating
clause.
that's indicating it's a relative clause. So it's a
Oh.
relative pronoun, and so this and so what happened was I saw that relative clause, and I assumed it was an article or with this, and I assumed it was a participle. But
So
actually,
what does it mean as it is now?
well, this is actually a verb, and what happens is this is the perfect verb, and it's doing reduplication. So it's basically saying the one or he was the one who became, I guess you could say. Let me look at it. The one who
ha becomes one here.
yeah,
Oh,
well,
wow.
let's see. And apart from him, nothing was made. That was made. That's how this is being used right here.
Okay.
Because it's basically saying, I think the hot is, yeah, it's neuter. So it's not he, it's that. So it's basically saying nothing was made that was made. So if you can think of anything that's been made, it's not, it was created by him. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So first thing I want to show you is number one, there are places where I struggled, right?
Yeah, we all do.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you're supposed to go back to the text. You're supposed to use the tools that you have, but you work through the process. And I want that to be understood because as we're doing these exercises are graded. They are going from simple to harder. That a way to prepare a person for reading the actual text in John, which as you see is harder than the exercises because when you're reading the Bible, you don't get the benefit of having, okay, I'm going to use all the present active indicative verbs first and then all the future. No, I mean, it's jumping from the
Hi,
imperfect
sharpening.
all over the place, just as
Yeah.
regular, language does. And so that's important for us to recognize.
Apart from him, nothing became that has become. Yeah, I think the reason I use came into being is because I took Agenata earlier as came into being. So where become focuses on process. I think apart from him, nothing became that has become into being. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. You're talking about the perfect form. Yeah. So I see your point because you could say that has become into being. It don't sound as good. So just by saying become, that sounds better. But I do like the came into being translation in the previous form. But because the perfect's being used there, it depends what type of perfect is being used here. Is it intensive? Is it extensive? Is it with present force? Various evaluations. That has become, you're treating it like it's already occurred. So you're emphasizing the past results.
Recognize. All right. So with that said, we will actually begin our trans.
This would be a good, the Greek class would be a good place for you to come in and contribute, John.
Translation exercises.
Okay. What does echo mean again?
Echo means to
Forget it.
have or to hold.
Have. Okay.
All right. So this is the section. What section are you in? The future, right?
I think that's what you sent me, yeah.
Present and future active indicative. All right.
So say someone said this.
No, I sent you the one with the nouns in it, and so that's probably what
Yeah,
was
yeah.
tripping you up. You didn't know the nouns.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
All right.
That was the issue I had. Yeah, this is it.
Okay, so let's just copy these exercises, and we'll take a look.
Okay.
Sharpening said, I'd love to be there, Lord willing.
So now that we're dealing with these graded things, it's going to be a whole lot.
Okay. Well, maybe tomorrow. I'm good. Free grace. I'm packing my stuff for my trip. Just have 2 weeks left.
Easier. All right. So what's the first thing you do?
The first thing we do is we find the verb.
Okay. What's your verb?
Prophe.
Okay. All right. Now what?
Subject.
Okay. What's your subject?
Doulos.
What's a possibility? It could be embedded within the verb also. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Nomon. Direct object.
All right. Yeah. So you're putting things in SVO order. Okay. So what does this mean?
Well, that was where I had all the words together mean he writes slave law, but that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't, because the thing to understand is that there are times whenever the subject will be translated from the verb. There's other times that the nominative case works with it. So then that would just be, there's no
Slave
article.
writes law.
Yeah, a slave, because there's no article. A slave
Right.
or servant. A servant writes a law.
Because you got to put it in SVO, so I should have. Oh, okay.
All right. Let's try the next one.
Ginoskete thanaton. Okay, ginoskete. That was the come into being verb, right?
No, that was ginomai.
Okay, I don't know this word.
Well,
Ginoskete.
You should know it because the word means no.
Well, we're all right. We're gonna stop there and pick up here next time. All right. Yeah. Well, you'll get at it. Don't worry about it. All right, Janet. Tell the audience what they can do. I mean, tell them where the plane is.
Guys, thank you so much for being here, and the plane is on the ground. Bye,
Yep.
guys. God bless.
God bless. Check out more content. Or if we can go live on Induction Study as well.